Alright, what's going on, everybody? So, I just watched the Microsoft 2014 E3 press conference, and here's my review on it. So, first, let me just say that it was nowhere near as bad as people were making it out to be, especially like on Twitter and any other place people were posting about it. People were highly exaggerating how bad the conference is. I think people are forgetting how some of the past conferences we've seen. This doesn't even make it into the top 5 list or the top list at all for worst conferences from Microsoft solely, or any of the companies. This is not going to go down remembered or in history as one of the worst conferences whatsoever. It was a decent conference. Now, let me just say this. Not that it was amazing or great, but it was by no measure, horrible. But let me just say this, and, just so people know how I rate a conference pretty much. I mainly judge a conference based on how much exclusive content that company showed me in their conference. Not that I don't take some of the third-party stuff into account, because that is part of the show, but it doesn't hold nowhere near as much weight as if you show me actual exclusive in-game content. You get me? So if they show some exclusive CGI, it's not as significant to me as actual exclusive in-game content, and it's less important to me if they show me some third-party stuff, because obviously that's available anywhere on any console. So I watch these conferences to see what you have to exclusively show me. Alright, so I'm editing this part in after I actually did the whole recording of my review, because there's one thing I just noticed about Microsoft's E3 conference. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I did not hear them mention Connect not once in this whole conference. I did not hear the word Connect come out of nobody's mouth the whole conference. Now, what does that tell you? I'm just saying. So let's get right to it. Let me look at my notes. So first thing, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I mean, it's Call of Duty. I really don't want to spend that much time on that, because I really don't want this video to be too long. I want it to be as short as possible. It's Call of Duty. Microsoft, honestly, they still hold very near and dear Call of Duty in their heart. It's Call of Duty. Let's move on. That's how they started their conference. That's not the first time they started their conference with Call of Duty. Nothing new there. Forza 5 DLC, some racetrack. I'm not a fan of racing simulators, you all know that, but for racing fans, I guess the DLC is cool. They showed a little trailer, 20-second thing, trailer for Evolve. Then they showed Assassin's Creed Unity. That trailer was pretty cool. The co-op features in the game takes place during the French Revolution. So that was pretty cool to see that and everything like that. But not anything obviously exclusive, like I said. But all the third-party stuff they did show did at least make the conference somewhat interesting. You get me? It didn't make it. At least they opted to put some third-party stuff in there rather than bore us with their TV crap that is exclusive to them, but it's boring. And by the way, it was kind of funny how Phil Spencer's a great guy. I really like him as head, right? I'm really glad they made that change. And it was kind of funny how he emphasized how this conference was going to focus on games, because we know how heavily Microsoft has been criticized for not focusing on games. So he made sure, like, hey, we're going to be talking about games, because that's, one thing people get on them about all the time. So after Assassin's Creed Unity, we saw a little bit of Dragon Age Inquisition. Like I said in my predictions, there was a lot of CGI. Then we moved on to Sunset Overdrive, an exclusive. And Sunset Overdrive looked like a cool game. definitely one of the games I'll be picking up. What I like about it is how it pokes fun at conventional third-person shooters. This game uses a lot of the environment. It takes it throws away a lot of those traditional gameplay mechanics. It looks like a cool, quirky, fun game to play with some friends and stuff. So that's what I think about Sunset Overdrive. It looks good. Fun, cool, wacky game, comical, yeah. Dead Rising 3 DLC. What I liked about this, now I don't really, care about the DLC. Dead Rising 3 was a decent game, as I talked about before. The only problem with it was that it did cause me to get nauseous because of the visuals or whatever. But I like how Capcom were able. They were able to poke fun at themselves with the whole naming of their game, specifically Street Fighter, with this what was it, Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition X Plus Alpha. I really thought that was cool and funny. Then they moved on to Dance Central. Don't care about that. Fable Legends, I guess, for Fable fans, RPG fans of Fable, it's exclusive. That's cool, I guess. I personally don't care about it. They put Conquer and Project Spark. It's kind of a slap in the face that Conquer, because Microsoft has the rights to Conquer, right? But Conquer is not getting his own game. He's getting disrespected by being thrown in as a feature into somebody else's game. The disrespect is so real. Halo Master Chief Collection. Let me just say this. I have no problem with remakes. I got no problem with rehashes, whatever you want to call them. What I don't like is when fanboys try to poke a finger at another company for doing a remake or a rehash or anniversary edition or whatever you want to call it, when all of the companies do it. Nintendo does it, Sony does it, Microsoft does it. So I'm not trying to hear that from nobody, and I got nothing against remakes. If it's wanted, then make it, then give it to the fans. It becomes a problem if you're doing it literally just to do it when there's no demand. I think there's a problem with that. But a lot of these remakes are wanted and beloved by the fans of them. So they announced the Halo Master Chief Collection, which was rumored a while ago, and it has it contains Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, and it contains Halo 2's Anniversary Edition, where you can see the retro game and the remade edition side. You can switch it off and on, and they said they kept all the mechanics of how Halo 2 was. The multiplayer is going to be in there, so that's real cool. That's good. There's going to be a Halo 5 Beta Guardians. I said Halo 5 Guardians Beta, excuse me. Of course, that's good. There was a game, I think it was an indie game Inside. There was an indie game collage, Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. The only thing, like this is just straying off a little bit. The only thing I didn't like about Tomb Raider, Rise, the Rise of the Tomb Raider, I think is what it was called, is that it seemed like another setup. It seemed like another coming of age story for Lara Croft, when that's what the first Tomb Raider was supposed to be. This one, I thought it should have been, it should be more of, she went through that already. This is when she's a full blown, this is the Lara Croft that we knew in the previous games, and she's already of age and she's already mature and well into her role of being a Tomb Raider. This one seems like she's still acting like brand new to this. But anyway, that's just my thoughts about it. It seems too much to be a setup. And speaking of going back to Sunset Overdrive, another game coming out in October. We got 10, 11 releases in October. I'm just saying, it's getting ridiculous. The Witcher, that demo they played was cool. Phantom Dust is an exclusive. The Division looked pretty cool. Very good. That's still my most anticipated game for 2015. Scalebound was an exclusive. They showed a CGI trailer for that. Crackdown, obviously an Xbox exclusive. They're rebooting that, I believe. So that's going to be a brand new Crackdown game. They're rebooting it. So that was pretty much it. I think they showed enough exclusive content. You get me? Like it was a lot. Like most of the stuff was not. It was third party stuff. But they showed more exclusive content than I thought they would have. Like I said, Crackdown, Scalebound, whether it will CGI or not. You know, obviously I said gameplay is better. Crackdown, Scalebound, it was Phantom Dusk, the Halo, Fable Legends. You know, if you want to count the DLCs, Sunset Overdrive, Forza, you know, the Forza DLC or whatever. So there was exclusive content there. There was, obviously some of it is not necessarily of my taste, but I give them credit for having them there. So this was a decent conference. I still says Sony's got. I believe Sony's got a challenge. I mean, yes, Sony's got a challenge in Microsoft with what they presented their conference, with what they presented at their conference this year. You know, they showed us what games they have coming in 2015 and what they're working on. There were no Gears. A lot of people was expecting to see Gears. You know, that's way too soon for that. That game is probably, you know, still very early in development. But yeah, I think Microsoft did a decent job, especially compared to their past E3s. I think people are forgetting what past Microsoft E3s were like. Y'all need to go back and look at them past Microsoft E3s. This was really good compared to those. This was pretty decent. So, you know, Sony still has to, you know, do some work. They can't, you know, this conference wasn't garbage that Sony could just sit and lay back and just win. Nah, they do have a challenge with what Microsoft presented. So I think they did a decent job. Let me know what y'all think. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.